Hey there, welcome to the DFS Build NBA Edition. I'm Kevin, that is Taylor, and we're getting together here to go over the two-game NBA DFS slate over at DraftKings. Hopefully, we can help you out. If we do help you in any way, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and come join us in Discord. Link is in the video, the description of the video below. Not a whole lot to discuss because it's only two games. I will say Taylor was on the core yesterday, and he knocked it out of the park. He handed out DK and FanDuel core plays, was all over Desmond Bane. He was in the FanDuel core yesterday. And then what you had Suggs and Anthony Black in the core for DK, and that worked out pretty nicely. You just had to make some right moves. One of those would have been fading Scotty Barnes, who was a great play with Manuel quickly out, but he did not get there. So hopefully you ended up cashing, maybe even winning big, and we can help you get there again today. Right away here, Phoenix and OKC, first game of the night. These games are really spaced out. One's at 7:30 ET, the other one's at 10. The Suns are 14.5-point road dogs, I guess, as expected, against a Thunder team that I believe still has only one loss. But there's a lot of leverage here potentially if the game can stay close and you're in on Suns guys. Win on a two-game slate, nobody else really wants to be. So how do you feel about Phoenix here? And which guys are you actually excited to play, if any?
I'm excited to play 0 Phoenix Suns because they're playing Oklahoma City and they just destroy everybody. They're first in defensive rating by a lot. They win. I think their average point differential last I looked was like 16 points per game. They've lost once. They win. I think they're on a 15-game winning streak, 12 by double digits. So it's tough. 14.5-point spread is pretty huge. It's the cup. They want to go to Vegas and all that. So maybe the Suns come out motivated, but they're on the road. They might not have Devin Booker again. Booker's questionable, which is pretty big news. That's the first game of the night, so we'll have it. If Booker's in, it's very hard to find a lot you want here because the guys are priced up for him being out. Dylan Brooks is the main guy I think you'd want, 6,500. Huge usage boost. That's pretty hard to say without Booker. But again, Oklahoma City just has wing defenders everywhere. So I don't expect Brooks to be that efficient, but he is 6,500, small forward eligible, tiny slate. I think he should be fine regardless, especially if Booker's out. I'm fine getting there. Grayson Allen, pretty much the exact same play, 6,400 shooting guard. These guys just don't look great if Booker's in. Royce O'Neal, I think, is an okay value. You're not excited about any of them. Mark Williams, I think the matchup's a little bit better with Hartenstein out. He's going to face Chet. They're just not as imposing defensively down low. And 6K is an okay price point on Mark Williams, but still hard to like any of this. Colin Gillespie, I guess, enters the fray if Booker is out. 6,800, though. That's a pretty full price tag on a Colin Gillespie against Oklahoma City play. So, I don't know, man. Ryan Dunn's 4-2. Oso Iguodaro, if you want to play the blowout angles, cheap. Jamari Bouye, if Booker's out, could get some minutes off the bench. You can get really gross with Phoenix, and it might be the way to play them.
I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens with Booker. So if Booker's out, ownership and matchup aside, you absolutely are going to want to consider Gillespie, Grayson, Dylan, even Mark Williams. Right now, without us knowing, chalky Mark Williams and chalky Dylan Brooks feels really bad. And even if Booker is out and those guys are going to be super steamed up, I would just go away from them and bank on it being a Gillespie or Grayson Allen game. I'm just going to play the ownership there. Maybe take a shot on Royce O'Neal, who probably would still go overlooked. Ryan Dunn, Jordan Gooden with those guys, just because we want value anyways. But honestly, I hope Devin plays. 9.1K for Devin Booker in a huge game. If they're going to have a chance, it's going to be because an active Booker goes nuts here. Also, I will say this. OKC is elite defensively. They're very good at home. All those things that you said already about them, that's all true. But the one way to get to them is actually from the three-point line. So they're only 21st at defending the three on the year, and they give up the 24th most threes or or no, not the 24th most, but they rank 24th in giving up threes made and attempted, and they rank 21st at defending it. So not really that great at defending the three. Whereas the Suns, that's what they do. They got Grayson, they got Devin, they got, I guess, Gillespie, they got Booker, Royce, like all these guys who can shoot the lights out. And that's their only way of staying high volume threes and actually converting them to a certain degree. But 5% own Devin Booker on a 2-game slate. I would bet the over on that for sure if he's in. But like, unlike Jalen Brunson last night when we were talking about the ownership, Booker is going to be overlooked here for sure. You got Austin Reeves at only a few hundred more. You have LeBron James in a similar price range, and he's like in the most impossible spot of the slate. I'm not that excited to get to the other guys, but I am very interested in playing a probably completely overlooked Devin Booker. On the other side,
I think another one, like he's missed time with a groin injury. So like, are we even getting a full Devin Booker if he's in?
Maybe not. I mean, unless it's explicitly said that he's going to be limited, I'll take a chance on it. It's 2 games. Like, you're not going to get many guys with a shot at 50, 55 fantasy point upside at no ownership on a 2-game slate. And he can do even more than that if the game stays close.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really shown ceiling this season. Like, I thought he would be pretty awesome, like without KD, without Beal, team all to himself, no Jalen Green even for the first month, essentially, plus.
Right.
He just really hasn't been that guy. Not that he can't do it. I just think the way to get an edge on this slate, in addition to like making groups that will limit your exposure to chalky spots, is to just sort of come in under or fade chalky plays as opposed to targeting a unpopular play in a really bad spot. So like, I see why you play Booker. I just think on a 2-game slate, it's easier to get different by fading something than by playing something that no one else is on necessarily.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it just all depends.
Like Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that for sure. I was very vocal right away. Hey, 35 minutes his last game, 25 actual real points or something like that, and he had 27 fantasy points. Like, I'm not betting on 60% owned Harrison Barnes. No. But we'll talk about him in a little bit. Yeah, it is obviously mostly ownership, and plus Devin Booker's price is only at 9-1. It's pretty palatable for him right now. But if they're going to stay close, he's also like probably the biggest reason why, which means he probably would have a decent chance of nuking in that situation. So not a guy I'd be high exposed to, but if I'm only running in one lineup, I'm interested in getting to him if he's in, and that's like where I get, because also a lot of these other pricier plays are not all that appealing either. On the other side, you have SGA 10-6. Like, he's also not a guy who's really been worth that price tag most of the year. If you look at his game log, he'll get you 50 fantasy points if the game stays close. He can push for 60. But where are like the true gem outings? Like, they just are not there. He had that one crazy game against the Pacers way back at the beginning of the year. I don't think he's topped 65 fantasy points since. He just hasn't. And they're at full strength now. They got Jalen Williams there. They got Chet there. I think Hartenstein's not in, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so that doesn't matter. He's not really a high usage guy to begin with. So SGA at his ownership is a safer low owned play than Booker for sure. But you got to come up with a 1.5K to get there. And like we're talking about Harry Barnes over here, there just is not much good value on the slate. That said, in a vacuum, he's got the better matchup. He's at home. His team is favored. He projects way better. So if SGA is not going to be owned, he's another guy I'm going to be very interested in, because we know he does have that inherent ceiling. But again, that slate breaking ability just has not been there, and it does have a 15-point spread. Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, though, look awesome. That looks like chalk that I don't mind eating. I do think I would probably pick one a good amount of the time. Pairing them, they might eat into each other a little bit. Like, maybe you can pick one and then go find the money to go to SGA, or maybe you go pick one and then go get some of the value from OKC that you're comfortable with. Right now, the last time I looked anyways, the optimal lineup at Roto Grinders was producing like Dort and Caruso. Like, I don't really want to do that. So where do you sit with OKC right now?
Yeah, I mean, those are guys I wouldn't normally play just because they're very low usage. They aren't very good fantasy-wise.
So good reasons to not play a guy.
But, they're 3-9. Like Dort is cheaper than usual. Caruso's 3.9. We need
But
some
look at
value.
44% owned though, Dort. Like, come
It's a
on. We
2-game
can probably.
slate. I mean, you have
I'm
to
just
do some
saying, there's
chalk.
got to
Like
be something else we can do.
probably not
Okay,
that you're going to feel any better about.
okay, but hold on. Are you doing that with an eye on getting Luka?
Yeah,
Or if you're not playing Luka, are you still doing that?
probably, because if I'm not playing Luca, I'm probably playing Shea. So you need some cheap. Like you can't. There's not really a viable balance. Like if you want to pay up for Jalen Williams as your highest priced player, is that something that you really want to do? I think that's just kind of
No.
narrow. Austin
Yeah, no, I
Reeves.
think you do need to get somebody
Yeah.
more up top. But like, there's a world where kind of unowned LeBron James nukes, or Austin Reeves as the second guy behind Luka nukes, or Devin nukes. I think like value wise on this slate, SGA stands out as the most compelling true stud, in my opinion. But make a case for these OKC guys. I know where you're going with it, but obviously for anybody watching.
Yeah, I mean, so Dort's been out for a while. I think he missed like 10 days. So I'm not expecting this is not really selling him, but I'm not expecting full minutes from him. But even then, like he's 3.9, he's usually like 4.8, 4.6. So we are getting a discount. He should start. He's shooting guard, and then Caruso has shooting guard, small forward. So he's like very easy to get into lineups. It's not value, no value. You're gonna hate anything on this slate, including a 60% owned Harrison Barnes. It's like as usual, the thing with OKC is you just have to be very thoughtful about how you play them together. Like a lot of people are going to have
Right.
Dort and Caruso, or Dort and Cason Wallace, or Dort and AJ Mitchell, or whatever. I don't know if people are playing AJ Mitchell, but I think he's a pretty good play. So just be aware of what you're building with. Maybe set some rules, like no more than 2 of the Dort, Caruso, Wallace, Wiggins quartet, something like that. That way, you're not overexposing yourself to a pretty volatile and low floor situation, especially if optimizers are going to be spitting out combinations with 3 of these guys. That's something I would definitely do. Set that rule. And it's just the nature of the slate. Like the other team with value, assuming Booker's in and Phoenix value doesn't really pop out, is San Antonio, which is not any more comfortable. They still have a lot of guys too. So it's just the way the slate is. Everyone's got to play the slate. Everyone has the same the value options, the same player pools. It's not something I'm excited to do, but I do think getting to Luca and or Shea is the play the slate. So you kind of have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, because of where we're at here, to me, SGA is probably where I'd go. I'm going to use that extra 1.4K or whatever it is to go get better values. Like you mentioned, Jay Mitchell, he is way safer and has a way higher ceiling than somebody like Dort or Caruso. So, like, yeah, I think the way I'm
5'4",
looking
so
at,
it's like you're paying
I know.
for him.
Of course, yeah, you need to find that extra money. I think it's as simple as this for me. If you're playing Dort and Caruso or one or the other, and you're playing Harry Barnes and you're eating into that chalk, you probably just need to go play Luka, like you're kind of alluding to before, anyways. But if you don't play Luka, I don't think you need to take those risks. Like you still need to find money, but I don't think you need to go dumpster diving. You certainly don't need to eat double risky chalk in Dort and Caruso if you're not playing Luka, right? Like you could definitely pick one of them and it hits and you get away with it. I just think it's hard to believe that they both like hit enough to get there.
I think that's definitely something you do in the pursuit of Luca. And then I think you also have to be thoughtful about the game, the way the game goes. So like if you're playing it where it's a close game and the OKC guys are going to see full minutes, then it's more interesting to play Caruso, Dort, Shea, Jalen Williams, and Chet, and Cason Wallace, I guess. If you want to play the blowout angle and you're playing like Iguodaro or Ryan Dunn or whoever on the Phoenix side, you can get into Jalen Williams with a Y. You can get into AJ Mitchell a little easily, Aaron Wiggins, the guys who in theory could see extra minutes in the fourth quarter if the game is a rout. So yeah, like I wouldn't play Dort with Jalen Williams with a way, because I think Dort needs the game to be competitive to get there, and I think Jalen Williams with a Y needs probably a blowout to really get there. Although he does have a role without Hartenstein.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think Jalen, not the Y, the one with the Y, the cheap one. I think he's really interesting as a leverage on those chalky Thunder values. He's only $300 more than both of them, and he's still gonna see 15 to 20 minutes here. If the game blows out, he'd see 20 plus for sure. He's the direct backup at the 5 in this situation. So with no Hartenstein, he's going to play, and he is a good per minute guy. I think he's an awesome pivot off of those guys. You can still get exposure to, OKC that way. And then, unlike them, if the game does go and get out of control, you're not really that worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if the ownership is pretty low on him. But yeah, like I wouldn't play Shea with these guys who are going to get mop-up duty just because Shea, if the game blows out, Shea's probably not getting there, and these guys are. So you probably don't want Shea with them. And similar story with Phoenix. Like if the game blows out, I'm not playing Dylan Brooks with Iguodaro probably, or Bouye, whoever gets blowout minutes. So just get these slates where it's kind of more game theory-ish.
Yeah, and if you're wrong, or if you stack the wrong game, then you're pretty screwed. All right, so the Spurs and Lakers, we mentioned Harry Barnes. He is 64% owned at the moment. That's disgusting. Hey, in a vacuum, Harry Barnes at 4.9K, going to get 30 plus minutes against the Lakers. It's not the worst thing in the world. What makes it the worst thing in the world to me is he's egregiously owned. I know it's a 2-game slate. He's probably going to be fine, but there's a world where Harrison Barnes gets you 1.25. Like he can do a whole lot of nothing out there sometimes. They have Stephon Castle getting more minutes. Dylan Harper's role is increasing. Luke Cornett is back. Like there's a path to Harrison Barnes just wrecking your night at that ownership. So because we know that path is there quite frequently, I will gladly take a chance and fade him. Outside of that, like Harper is a good value as a pivot, like a little bit less owned. Kind of okay with going away from that chalk too. I do like the Luke Cornett chalk at 4.8. Feels like one of the best center values of the slate. KJ is fine. Not really interested in Vassell. Not really that interested in limited Castle. De'Aaron Fox is another one of these studs who is going to go a little bit overlooked. Like I do think you could get away with potentially on this slate having Booker, Fox, either one of them being your top stud of the slate if they get there, because I think there's a path to like Luka only getting like 55 and SGA just getting 50, and if they get up there, you can have a more balanced build and just inherently is more unique. And he looks good. Like he's not gonna be limited or anything. 9K, he's been good for them and no Wemby, so I do like him a good deal, and I'm not playing Harry. What are you doing with the Spurs here?
Yeah, I'll probably still play some Barnes. I think just because it is a slate.
Well, if you play a lot of lineups, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, right. It's just like Wendell Carter. Like I didn't like him. I still played him because I played a lot of lineups and he fits. So, yeah, it's not comfortable. They do still have Champagny. They have Keldon Johnson. They have Sohan getting some minutes in theory. They have Vassell. They just have a lot of bodies on the wing kind of eating into each other. I do think Fox is a really good play. Like I'd rather play Fox than Booker just because I think the Lakers are not a good defense, and I think this game just has a better chance of staying competitive.
Right.
And if if Booker comes in 8% owned and Fox comes in 16% owned, it's like, well, I don't really care about Booker being lower owned because Fox is still low owned relative to the slate.
Sure.
So good with Fox at 9K. I think he's kind of sneaky. The Harper thing, like he's going to be mega chalk. I think he might be the chalkiest player on the entire slate, which I don't really have an issue with because he's 4'7", point guard, shooting guard. He really went off in the last game, but that was really the first game he's gone off all season. We haven't really seen a ceiling out of him just because he doesn't really play a lot of minutes off the bench. He's good. He's a very good player. He's, I think, at 1.11 fantasy points per minute without Wemby. But he closed over a minutes capped cap in that game. Castle should still be capped. This is only the second game back. But I don't think Harper closing over him is a lock by any means.
Mm-hmm.
So just be aware that you're probably potentially not getting another 25 minutes. Like he could play 20, he could play 22. into extreme ownership, I think he had a narrower path than Barnes. So he's a better per minute guy than Barnes. I think his floor is higher. I just don't know if the ceiling is that great. But I'll still play him a lot, just like I said with Barnes. So hard to get away from that. Cornette is okay. I think Jalen Williams with a Y, if he's a lot less owned, is a similar play. So if Cornette's like 50% owned and Jalen Williams is 10% owned, I think Jalen Williams is kind of a decent pivot there.
Sure.
And then with the Barnes thing, like I probably wouldn't play him with Keldon. I would probably max one Penny, Keldon, and Barnes. Just kind of hope to get that right. And then with the guards, I would max two Fox, Castle, Harper. I don't think a lot of people are going to play Castle because he's limited, but still should be playable on such a small state, maybe in a large tournament. But if he's only playing like 25 minutes, 7,500 is pretty hard to justify. And that's kind of it. Vassell is always just kind of a leftover. Like I never really feel strong one way or the other about him. I think he's okay. I might consider him in that same group with Keldon, Barnes, Champagny, maybe max to it if you want to include Vassell. But that's about it. I think Fox is probably the most interesting option here, relative ownership.
Yeah, I agree. And then like you can just pick your spots with the chalky value. Barnes, Harper, Cornette. I think they're all for the slate fine values. I'm not going to eat chalk with Harry. I think Harper's the better play by comparison, a little bit cheaper, similar projection, way less owned, probably. I don't know. We'll see what the actual updated ownership is. I do feel like he's a little chasey though. Like he popped off last game, really hadn't done that. And then, like you said, Castle may end up closing instead of him. Castle just naturally going to get more work. And there's just so many other guys. There's Vassell, there's Harry, there's Keldon, there's Champagny, there's Sohan. Like there's so many guys that if Harper doesn't hit when he's out there or he doesn't play well, he might just not get that many minutes. So I think him and Barnes are pretty good chalk to get away from. And I love your call on the Jalen over Luke because it's not like Luke Cornette chalk has been working for us. It's not like he's coming out and just crushing like we thought he kind of could. Like he has done well in the past when he was at Boston. Really hasn't displayed any bit of a ceiling with the Spurs with Wemby out. So, and they also are not like, shy about just not giving him max minutes and like rotating Kelly or whoever. The other game we thought it was gonna be Kelly when Cornette was out, and nope, it was Biz, and Kelly played like 3 minutes. So like Spurs just like to mess with us, even post pop. All right, on the other side, the Lakers. I don't have anything bad to say about Luka. The only two issues are he's very restrictive. He's 12K, and he is very owned. 50% or more of the field's going to have him. If you just want raw points and you are comfortable playing the Spurs value and the OKC value, yes, go get Luka by all means. You're just going to have to find another way to get different, though, because right there, if you do that value, whether it be Dort, Caruso, Barnes, Cornette, and the other guy, Harper. Yeah, and then Luka, that's all very chalky. And then you only have a few spots to get like super different in a hurry. So you just need to make sure if you do that, obviously all that chalk does well. And then the other guys you pivot at really smash.
Yeah. Luka's a scary fade on a 2-game slate, of course. We didn't have anyone like this last night. Last night it was more of a balanced thing with like Towns and Barnes on the high end. This one we actually had 2 guys over 10K. I think Luka's just naturally the better play than Shea because I think the game is going to stay closer. San Antonio's defense has been really bad since they lost Wembanyama. Gets a bit better with Castle back, but I'm really concerned. Luka's pretty matchup proof. If I'm playing one lineup, I'm pretty sure he's in it. And I think I would try to get to Shea in the same lineup as well. Just because it's pretty gross. It's a gross slate. I think people want to do that. And I think there's a lot of upside. That combination is not going to be very owned. So I feel comfortable if I'm playing Luka and all the chalky Spurs and Thunder value. It's like, well, I'll play Shea too, because I don't know if people are going to play Luka and Shea together. I think it's okay.
Okay, but I don't hate that. Obviously, I like a true Stars and Scrubs build as much as anyone. But if you're going to pay for Luka and you are going to eat a lot of that chalk, I think Fox is the guy that makes the most sense. You save 1.6K you still get a guy who's capable of doing what SGA has been doing, So that's probably what I would do. I don't mind that option either. And I agree, man. Gosh, fading Luka on a 2-game slate is just asking for trouble. I just think as far as an actual comfortable build, there are some other options that look good, and the the value is really bad. So meeting in the middle somewhere. I think LeBron James sub 20%, that is interesting. LeBron James has been kind of washy looking, but he looked really good last game. Maybe that's a turning of the tide a little bit for him, and he gets it going in a bigger game. I don't know, but sub 20% LeBron's interesting. I agree, though. It's going to be tough to fade Luka. If you're doing one lineup, I probably wouldn't fade Luka, but I would be very underweight on him personally just because I feel like the builds are better without him.
Yeah, I think you're not really going to love your build without him either. I think you're still going to have some Spurs and some Thunder. So it's well, if I hate this build, I might as well hate a build that has a Luka in it,
That's true.
So
that's a good point.
Kind of what I'm leaning toward. I think Fox is a good run back in a little game stack if you want to do that. I also love Reeves, 8,400. He was 10K in the last game with Luka back. Obviously, wildly overpriced. Didn't play well at all in that game. LeBron did. Luka did. Reeves has just been excellent all season. That last game was quite the anomaly, I think. He's cheap. He's good. He hasn't really suffered a lot with LeBron and Luka in general. So I think, I have no issue pairing Luka with Reeves. I have no issue pairing him with LeBron. Just less excited about LeBron in general, given the circumstances. But he's fine on a tiny slate. My favorite play, though, is Ayton. San Antonio has just been trash defensively inside without Wemby. Cornette is not Wemby, while he is generally a decent defender overall. 6,300 Ayton. There's a low floor with all these guys in. He generally does better with, one of the stars out, but tiny slate, great matchup, good price tag, better play than Mark Williams in a much tougher spot. I just think Ayton is someone I'm going to be building around a little bit. And then I think you can consider Rui, 4,800, just another Harrison Barnesy value. If Barnes is 60% and Rui at a similar price is 30, that's just an ownership discount you can take. They're really not that different.
No.
People see the Barnes ceiling and oh, well, he's clearly a better play, but he's really not. So don't mind that at all. And then I think you can consider Marcus Smart just as a punt, but don't want to do that.
No, love the Rui call. I was going to say that as well. 4.8. It's a direct pivot on Harry Barnes. It's the same player, and it's a fraction of the ownership. So he looks really good. I like the logic on Ayton. I just think it's going to be kind of weird to get to him on this slate. You got to really force it, obviously. I don't think you're going to naturally land on Ayton. There's really not anybody that appealing in that price range either. So it's you're really going out of your way to get Ayton, I think. So that's fine. You're going to be different right away from Ayton. Back to the LeBron Reeves thing though, just off of pure pricing and ownership, I feel like LeBron is an amazing pivot off of Reeves. But yeah, this slate really comes down to, are you going to pay for Luka or not? I think the consensus is that you probably should. If you're doing a lot of lineups, if I'm doing a lot of lineups, I'm probably going to go a little bit underweight. So I have teams that are a bit more unique. And that feel.
I don't mean to interrupt, but it's
Go ahead.
weird to me that LeBron is more expensive than Reeves. Based on one game, LeBron is more expensive than, I don't understand. Reeves has been awesome all season. I'm happy to play the cheaper Reeves into ownership. I don't care much about that.
Yeah, I guess I do care a little bit about the ownership. If they're going to be that similar in projection and price, and one of them's way more owned than the other, I'll just take a chance on LeBron having a better game. It also depends on
Oh, they project LeBron better than Reeves. I would not have that. I don't think that's right.
It all depends. And it is a good spot. The Spurs, like you said, have not been as good defensively without Wemby. So maybe it is a turning of the tide for LeBron. If it gets flip-flopped though, I would certainly agree. Like if people are gravitating towards LeBron, then Reeves looks a lot better. But I think they're both good plays. I think the Lakers as a whole look really good. This game is probably the more stackable game. The problem is it's also just going to make for a chalkier build if you do that. That's the main reason why I want to get different with my OKC value. I want to consider getting a Suns guy in there, especially if I'm going to pay for SGA. If I'm paying for SGA and getting Thunder value, like I do want to go find a Suns guy I feel good about. Unfortunately, right now it is a banged up Devin Booker is the one that I look at the most. But yeah, okay. So hopefully this helps you out a little bit. We'll have core plays finalized for DraftKings and FanDuel. Have them up already at dfsbuild.com. If you are not a member there, just $5.99 a month for our daily NBA plays and all of our NFL content that we push out, plus MMA core plays. So be sure to take advantage of that. If you just want free advice, subscribe to the channel so you get notified to future videos like this. Give us a like also if you can, and then just head to Discord. That's 100% free. All right, thanks for watching and good luck.